There's gotta be a better way than this. I got it. Hey Ken, you got a minute?
You okay, man?
I'm alright.
Okay, good.
You got a second?
Sure.
Okay. So I got a customer and they're wondering if we can build a solution. They're getting inundated with emails, and so what they would like to do is set up like a database of questions and answers where they could have commonly asked things, and then let's say that an email came in and they already answered that question before. What if an email automatically went out to that person with that answer that they already had? Do you think that something like that is possible?
So, yes. So recently there's a service called QnA Maker that went GA.
Okay.
So it's part of the Azure Cognitive Suite. You know, we use that suite for hot dog, not hot dog?
Yes.
So we could likely leverage that
Okay.
and catalog all of these questions related answers, and then it will actually understand what the question is, line up the answer, and email the answer
Ken,
back.
I'm not sure if I understand all that, but let me so a question will get asked, something will happen, an answer will automatically go out.
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Hey Ken.
Again?
Well, you know, I talked to that customer, and
okay.
they were saying that they need this solution like this week.
This week?
Yeah, so I was wondering, do you think you could help me with this one?
I guess. Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thanks, man.
Happy to help you out.
I appreciate it. So, is there anything you need from me?
Lamb Vindaloo next Friday is what I need from you.
Lunch. Deal.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Hey John, remember that scenario, that customer scenario you asked me to look at this morning?
Yeah.
So it's done.
Already?
Already, yes.
Can I see it?
Sure, let's go check it out.
All right. The customer's gonna be really excited too, man. All right, Kent, I am so ready to see this. So walk me through it, man. Show me how you made this thing in such a short time frame as well.
You bet. So let's start with QnA Maker. So this is a service, it's technically an Azure service, but you don't have to go to the Azure portal in order to access it. So QnAMaker.ai.
Okay.
So what I went and I created a new knowledge base called Intelligent Email Routing.
It's a good name.
Not bad. And so what you do is you provide a series of questions and answers. And what you can also do is, you know, not everyone's going to ask the question the same way, so you can also go ahead and add different versions of how you would ask that question. But it is pretty good in the sense that it'll use natural language understanding technology to try to understand what is the nature of the question and then provide an answer. So it's not like, so it's not like a one-to-one where you have to ask it specifically a certain way.
Got it.
And then basically uses this artificial intelligence and machine learning in order to determine what is the best answer based upon the inputs or the question.
Nice.
So what we're able to do is we're actually able to wire Flow or plug this into Flow. And then of course with Flow and the ability to use the Office 365 Outlook connector, we can ingest all of the emails and then provide some pretty funky stuff.
Oh man, the customer's gonna love that.
I hope so. So what I've got here is I've got a few different flows, and the whole idea here is that we want this to be extensible. You mentioned that the customer also has Twitter, also has Yammer, and some other channels. So we wanted to make a reusable flow in this case. So what I'm going to do is show you what I call the QnA Publisher email first. And what this flow is going to do is it's going to inspect an inbox And in this case, because I don't want all of my inbox routing to this engine yet,
Okay.
so I'm just saying there's a subject filter of flow question.
Okay.
And then what happens is when that criteria is matched, we'll then pull out the email. And QnA Maker is not so interested in HTML markup, so we're just going to strip out all of the HTML and send the raw text.
Okay.
Now, what we're also going to do is we're going to call what I would call a worker flow. Because we don't want to duplicate this logic over and over and over, we're going to have a common flow that can be reused.
Okay.
So as we have all of these different input channels, we can keep the core business logic in one place. So we're going to create something called a webhook. And what we're going to do is we're going to call a specific URL, which represents our flow.
Okay.
And then we're going to register a callback, which will tell that worker flow, when it's done processing all of the goodness, to call it back and give it its response. And then what we can do is parse that response and send an email back to the originator indicating, the question that they had provided and then the related answer.
Wow.
As part of that.
That is rad. So a worker flow, that's a new concept. I like that.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about it, but certainly it is. It's been around for a while. It's just something that we haven't really talked a whole lot about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So you want to take a look at the worker flow?
I want to. Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, so let's go over to the worker flow. And so what we're going to do is, I mentioned, we're going to use the HTTP connector.
Yep.
So this is going to go ahead and receive the request from our publisher, in that case the email publisher flow.
Got it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to call the QnA Maker service. Now, you might be asking, why are you using the HTTP action? And we do have a QnA connector, but what's happened is the QnA service has just gone GA.
That's right.
So we're in transition in terms of updating the connector to support the new auth model that is part of the connector itself.
Okay.
So we're going to use that HTTP action, and then we're going to parse the response. So what I can do is QnA Maker actually provides this nice API testing tool, which will actually allow you to call QnA Maker, get the sample message body back, and then we're just going to go ahead and use the parse JSON action in order for us to get a structured typed response message from QnA response.
Okay.
So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and go through all of the different answers. So similar, remember when we did hot dog, not hot dog?
Yep.
It gives you like multiple answers that come back. So we're going to go through each one of them. And what we're going to do is we're interested in the highest scoring answer for this case. And
you'll get multiple back, and some may apply more than others.
Right. And so for the purpose of this, we want to just focus on the top one.
Cool.
And so what we're going to say is it's going to give us a score back, similar to what we saw in hot dog, not hot dog.
Oh, the float. I remember the float from hot dog, not hot dog.
Exactly. So here what we're going to say is if it's 90, a score of 90 or higher, then we feel really confident that this is a good, solid answer, and that we can automate the email response back to the originator. Because naturally that's going to be a concern, is like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want like this sending out like irrelevant answers because the model's not mature enough.
Totally.
So I built a safeguard. I got you and your customer.
You did?
Yeah, in the sense.
What's the safeguard for the customer?
So we're going to have an approval. So when the score is greater than 90, we're just going to automatically call back the original flow. And this is extensible. So because we're passing in the callback URL and the request, we can add all of these publishers and have this single worker flow, and it'll keep track of who made the request and gave the response.
This is so cool.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to use an approval. And if the score is less than 90, we'll kick off the approval. And then we're going to send this off to a specific PM. Or to the appropriate person to handle the request. And we're going to give them the source of the question, like did this come through email, did this come through Twitter, did this come through Yammer.
Nice.
We'll provide the original question itself.
Okay.
And then we're going to give the proposed answer.
Got it.
And then what we'll do is say, then this hits an approval state. So I can like review this in my inbox, my Flow mobile, or go to the approval center.
And
if I'm happy with the response that QnA Maker has provided, I can just say approve, and it's going to send that answer back to the originator, regardless of the channel that they've sent the question in on. Now, this is where it gets pretty interesting. So naturally, when the answer is not correct, we want to enrich this process. We don't want this thing to be like one and done. We want
Totally.
the process to self-learn. So what we can actually do is when you go to reject the approval because you're not happy with the answer, you provide the new answer. And then what we're going to do is we'll feed the SharePoint site where we can track all of these questions and answers.
Okay.
And then what we can do is actually feed QnA Maker. So the next time that question comes in, we're going to have a higher scored answer that we can automatically send back out.
And so this thing is going to get smarter over time on its own.
Yes, the more you use it, the more intelligent this will become.
Wow.
And then so this is the point of this specific action. We're going to go ahead and update the item in our KB site within SharePoint.
Okay.
And then what we will do is we'll call back to the publisher flow in the same manner we did before, and actually provide the answer, the new answer that the customer will have to provide when they go ahead to reject it.
Okay.
And then so that will go back, and they're then therefore confident that they're giving the customer a good experience, because no one likes a bad bot.
No.
Right? It's frustrating when you know you're talking to a bot.
Yeah.
So the idea is we want this to be intelligent, and in the case where there's not an answer, we want to make it as efficient as possible to get the right answer, but also so that people are not dragged down with email, because that's the whole point of this, is to make things more streamlined.
Exactly. Man, this is incredible.
So you want to test it?
Yes, let's see it in action for sure. Should I send you an email?
Well, for now, let's just go ahead. I'll just go ahead and send one. So here, I'm sure you get this all the time. This is just an example. The customer's going to have to, of course, frame their own questions. But I took some examples that we as a PM team run into from a flow perspective. In this case, it's like, I'm curious, I want to try flow. Do you have any good resources to get started?
Cool.
And there's no shortage of resources out there. But I recall you put together a blog post that has this comprehensive list that you maintain.
I do.
So why do I want to go scatter and find that information all of the time?
I already did it.
This is something where we should be able to just, whenever that question gets asked, we can just go ahead and provide a response.
I love
and the beauty of it is, this will be automatic instead of someone having to manually go in. So this is just an example that I put together that I felt like we run into, so the customer will probably have a similar situation and they would be able to take advantage of it.
You have no idea how perfect this is going to be.
You think this is going to match their expectations?
I think you nailed it perfectly.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
There's going to be very little work I'm going to have to do to deliver this to this customer.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's great to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait. All right, let's see this thing run.
Okay, so it's, let's go back. Let's check out, so this is the publisher.
Okay.
And
we're going to wait for it to trigger here, because Outlook has a beautiful polling trigger, right?
so now we can see that it's running.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's remember, this is the publisher, so its job is to pull the email out.
Yep.
Let's just take a quick look at that. Well, and then see, this is the problem, right? It's all in HTML. Who wants to look at all of that? So let's go ahead and look at the output from this action, and you can see, hey, this is exactly the email that we had provided. So what we're going to do then is go ahead and call the worker flow.
Okay.
And in this case, because it's a webhook, it's going to go ahead and wait for this response. Now, a question people might have is like, okay, well, why did you use a webhook? Well, the nature is that in our worker flow, it's actually going to start an approval. An approval can take seconds to hours to days.
Yeah.
And the problem with calling another flow through and using HTTP is the default timeout in flow is 2 minutes. So otherwise we'd have these like publishers that are timing out. But what we're doing is it's kind of like this asynchronous HTTP messaging.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter. This can like sit there and wait, and then when we get the approval done, we can go ahead and it'll call it back.
We definitely don't want everyone to have to answer their email within 2 minutes.
No,
that would not be ideal.
That doesn't scale. So let's go ahead and take a look at approvals, and we should find that there's an approval waiting. And I can go ahead and see what the question was. So in this, hey Kent, I'm curious, do you have a good place to get me started? And then here, head over to this specific link.
My blog post. That's my blog post. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So in this case, It wasn't greater than 90%, but that's okay. I didn't have to go dig for this. I'm happy with this answer.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and click approve and confirm. And then what's going to happen is that response that QnA Maker generated is actually going to get sent back to me. And with the answer, I could go ahead and click on that link. Yeah.
I'm so excited for this. I can't believe this can't. How long did this take you to build?
Probably a few hours.
A few hours.
A few hours.
You just built an intelligent email routing system in a few hours.
And with Microsoft Flow.
That is awesome.
So if we take a look, this is the response that comes back. So here we've got the original question that was sent in.
Okay.
We've separated it with some
With a
HTML
nice little
markup.
line. Yeah.
And then we've got the link. So head over to Flow Resources.
Opens up to this beautiful blog post full of goodness.
And boom. And so the whole idea is alternatively, the question would have come in, it would have been like, where is that blog post again?
Yeah.
So here's what I go. I go to flow-to-microsoft.com, then I click on the blogs, and then I'd find your name, and I'd find, oh, this is the one where John, created it. Whereas now that's cataloged, because it is sort of a frequently asked question.
Yeah.
And it just automatically pops up.
Man, this is epic.
Do you think, is this close? Is this, you feel that the customer...
I think that we could export this and give this to them today, and they're just going to be over the moon. Obviously, they'll have to make a few changes, right, to set up their questions and answers.
Yeah.
But man, this is perfect. This is perfect.
So what we'll do is, so on that note, so they're going to have to create a SharePoint site similar to this.
Okay.
Where everything is framed as a question and an answer. So that's something you'll have to coach them through.
Got it.
And then, as I mentioned before, this will get automatically feed QnA Maker, so they don't have to be as concerned with that.
And you can get me the URL for this site?
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
So I could have an example here?
Sure, yeah.
Perfect.
And then, so you said you wanted an export of this. So what we'll do is we'll export this, the publisher, and then we'll go ahead and click on Export Package. In this case, we're going to keep it in Flow. We're not going to put it in Logic Apps. So we'll just go with this one.
Not today, guys. Not today.
And then we'll say this is the QnA Maker email publisher. And we'll say this is going to be create new, save, and we can now export.
Just like that. And then it'll be just as simple for them to import it into their environment and just start running with it.
Yeah, so you'll help them take care of that?
I will. I will.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you so much for building this, man. I really appreciate it. And in such short notice, Kent, you're a genius. A sheer genius.
So I'm looking forward to
Lunch.
lamb vindaloo. Yeah, you do.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Cool, man.
Well,
Thank
let me
you.
know how it goes.
All right, I will, for sure.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I cannot believe he actually did it. I actually got him to make it, and he gave it to me. He exported it. I'm gonna go import it right now.
All right. Look at this. He sent it to me. I'm so excited. All right, I'm gonna go to Flow, go to My Flows. As soon as it loads, hit import. And now, in case you haven't seen a Flow import before, this is the process. All right, now we choose our package here from the downloads, QnA Maker. Oh, yeah. So excited to say goodbye to email. What a cool solution, right, you guys? Like, to be able to use your email like this. All right, let's give it my connections. Perfect. And click import, and simple as that. Look at that. Kent built it in his environment, exported it, I imported it into mine. And now, importing my package. Don't worry, I won't navigate away. Ta-da! And now we just click on Open Flow. Alright, and now we just got to make a couple little tweaks so that this works for me. So the first thing is
So we need to say when an email arrives in the inbox, and let's get rid of any filter because we want every email to be automated. And next, we're gonna do the send an email. Let's make sure that it has normal importance. It does. Excellent. And now we just save this baby. And just like that, automated email. I'm gonna go home early. I think that sounds like a good idea. Hey Kent, man,
Hey.
just wanted to say thank you so much. I gave it to the customer. They have it up and running.
Really?
Helped them get it all installed and up
That
and running.
quick?
Yeah, it wasn't hard to set up at all. So they're really excited to see it running, and so I'll let you know how it goes. But I think I'm actually gonna call it early day today, take off, and it's beautiful out. I'm gonna go enjoy the weather a little bit.
All right. Well.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks again, man, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, John. Oh man, I forgot to ask him a question. I need to know what the travel site is in order to book my travel to go to Inspire and Ready. I guess I'll just send him a quick note. Oh, wow, that was fast. Oh, cool. He sent me the site. Hey, wait a minute. This is like, he's using this tool to answer his own email.
All right, guys, and so as you can see, I successfully tricked Kent into automating my email inbox, which, by the way, Kent, that was awesome.
I'm glad you liked it, and payback will be forthcoming.
All right, well, you guys, just know that this whole solution here is just one part of a greater thing that we are building. We're doing sessions at Ready and Inspire and Ignite and the Business Application Summit on digital transformation and robotic process automation, and this was just the first piece in that tool set. And so as you saw, Kent is already working on some additional inputs to give to that worker flow, and so make sure, what should they do, Kent?
They should like and subscribe. Oh, no, they should sign up for these upcoming events because
Yes.
you know we're going to have some fun and we're going to teach you some new things. And we're going to show you how you can use Flow in some very innovative but also very meaningful ways.
Yes, and also be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. See you in the next video.